also take care of our email, so if you ever don't receive a link or have trouble getting into the practice, or have trouble accessing the recording or anything like that, you can always email info@Down Dog Yoga Center, and we're there to help you with any of those transitions as well. So a little housekeeping that I wanted to say is, when you enter the practice like you did today, you'll be in a waiting room, and that's just until Jeremy and I get the room set up and everything ready, and then we let you in, so that will happen before 5:30, and then there'll be a moment to check in, and then we'll ask that everyone's mics get muted so that we, during the practice, only hear Jeremy coming through the recording. We will be recording, but the only screen that gets recorded is Jeremy. So your camera being open is not on the video. It's just the spotlit screen. So, that is a safe, private space for you to practice without worrying about being in the recording. And then after class is done, we upload the video to Wellness Living, so your online account that you have with us. And that takes sometimes about a half an hour, because there is another class that starts after this that I'm supporting. So it could be a half hour to an hour after class is done, but it gets uploaded there. And when you sign in, there'll be a Watch Videos tab up in the top corner of your profile, and you can click on that and watch the class. And each week the class gets uploaded and it stays there for the remainder of the session, so you can use it again, or if you couldn't attend live, you can catch up that way. So I think that's it from me. I'm going to turn it back over to Jeremy, but I want to just say thank you for joining us, and welcome.
Thank you, Kristen, for providing support and holding the space for all of us. Just one more 1 minute introduction to me. I know some of you, but my background in movement. I've been doing yoga for maybe a long time, who knows how long. But I am also a dancer and worked as a dancer for quite some time, and now I teach dance as well. So my class is informed by quite a few different movement methodologies, yoga being one and being a very strong foundation, but it's informed by other theories as well. That said, I guess you can read my bio and more on the Down Dog website, so I'm not going to give you all that information. But I will say this class is built on Hatha Yoga principles. Hatha Yoga, for me, is the big, big umbrella under which asana and pranayama and meditation, the things that, particular in the West, in the United States, we think of as yoga, are really under the Hatha umbrella. Vinyasa, the flowing, really energetic practice that you see a lot, if you're looking on social media, that is under that Hatha umbrella. So we're focusing on those principles from yoga under the Hatha umbrella. I should say we're at the starting portion of class. So Kristen, if you want to be in the recording, we'll turn the mics off, because this information might be useful if you want to review it later. So we're under the Hatha Yoga umbrella with our beginning yoga practice. Some of the elements that we'll work on in our time together are asanas, postures, breath work, pranayama. Prana is energy, and that's just movement of energy. And then meditation, dhyana. And that's sort of the best I've heard a great description of meditation as tools for stress management. It doesn't actually relieve stress itself, but it gives you the tools that you can then use for your own stress management. So those are the meditation, breath work, and the postures are what we will focus on in this practice, in this Hatha Yoga practice. But there'll also be interwoven some of the other philosophical principles. I also want to invite you for a brief chat after class to address any questions, or you can find me on social media or on the Facebook page for this class, and we can talk and have a conversation about questions that come up after class or in your own practice time. Okay. As we begin, we may or may not need some props. So I want to label them and have them, or encourage you to have them available to you. If you can see my yoga space, I have a bolster. We were talking about grateful spouses. My spouse gave me a bolster for Christmas, and I was very grateful. So a bolster, if you didn't happen to get one for Christmas, you can use a pillow. A bedroom pillow that's kind of thick, one or two, can be a great tool. Another prop we may or may not need is a blanket. If you don't happen to have a big thick blanket, you can take a bathroom towel, one or two. We also may or may not need blocks for our practice. These tend to either make your arms longer when you need to reach the floor or sometimes support your body. And then, not today, but perhaps another day, we will also use a strap. If you don't have a yoga strap specifically, you're welcome to use a belt that's about as wide, it doesn't even have to be as wide as your shoulders. About 3 to 4 feet in length is fine. So all of those props you can generally find a version of around your house. And for today's class, I want to preface that I'll offer everything, not everything, most everything, both seated and on a chair. So I want to give that option for you today in our first class for two reasons. One, part of yoga is learning how to modify poses and how to modify them for you. The other thing is yoga is practice for life. It's not just what we're doing in this hour, but these are tools that you can access anytime. You know, when you hear some crazy news in the middle of your day, you can take that breath work into your at your desk, or you can even do a little light stretching. So I'm going to show today's class partially on a chair. I have a stool. That's just aesthetic because it fits in the space, but you can use any chair. Okay, we've talked about props. You've learned who I am. Let's get started. So let's find a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. You can take your blankets or bolster and sit cross-legged on the floor. You're also welcome to find a chair. And if you're in a chair that has a back, I encourage you to sit forward on the front edge of the chair so you're kind of perched up on your sit bones. So as mentioned, you can be on a bolster seated or on a chair. If you're on a chair, notice if you naturally crossed your feet and just have your feet flat on the floor. Let's start with our breath. Pranayama. We're going to first discover our breath. Let's place one hand on the belly. And as you inhale, notice your belly move. As you exhale, notice the belly move. Take another 2 or 3 breaths, starting to exaggerate the movement of your diaphragm. You may be breathing in and out through the nose or through the mouth. Your mind is focusing on the movement of the diaphragm, expanding like a balloon on the inhale, and drawing toward the center of your body on the exhale, a little contracting sensation. You could focus on the sensations of expanding or spreading on the inhale, and gathering on the exhale. Do 2 more rounds of breath. Nice long inhales and exhales. After your next exhale, gently blink your eyes open. You can release your hands to your lap, palm down or palm up, whatever's most comfortable for you. Let's begin to move our spine. And I'll encourage the breath work and focus on the breath while we're moving our spine. Your hands can be on your knees. Inhale, bring your chest forward, look up, extend your spine. Reverse that shape. Move your chest backwards, dome your spine, and look toward the navel. That's an exhale. Inhale, extend forward, looking up. Exhale, flex backward, looking down. Let's do this a couple more times. Inhaling as you extend. Exhaling as you flex. And I'll be quiet for the next one so you can listen to the sound of your own breath. Gently return to neutral. Neutral is a slightly elevated spine, a little energy up toward the crown of your head. So we did two of the spinal directions, flexion and extension. The next two, moving side to side. Inhale your left arm up. Exhale, side bend over. As you inhale, bring your spine back up and release your left hand down. Other side, inhale the right arm up, palm faces the ear. Exhale, bend your spine toward the left. Inhale, rise back up. Turn the palm out as you lower the arm. Let's do this side to side a couple more times. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, bend your spine. If you're on the floor, you can rest your hand on the earth. As you inhale, rise back up. And replace that arm. Other side, inhale. Exhale as you bend. Inhale, rise. And release the arm. We'll go each side one more time. Inhale, left arm. Exhale, bend to the right. Stay here for a few moments. My hand is here. If you're on the ground, you can rest that hand on the earth. Options here, yogis. You can look toward your bicep or even up toward your thumb, or you can keep your gaze directed forward. I'll also invite you, if you choose, you can do a little arm motion, a little backstroke with your arm, and then sweep it forward. If that felt good, you can do one more. On your next inhale, bring your body back up to vertical and replace that left arm. Other side. Inhale the right arm up. Side bend your body. Lateral flexion to the left. Stay here. Your hips are still anchored on the chair or on the mat. Sometimes your weight shifts. You're keeping both hips planted. I saw that adjustment. That was good. You're welcome to look up toward your bicep or toward your thumb. You're still breathing. You're also welcome to circle that arm back if you choose. If that felt good, you can do one more. On your next inhale, bring your body up and release that hand. So those were directions 3 and 4 of our spine. 1 and 2 are flexion and extension. You're welcome to do them again, remembering and mobilizing your body. Directions 3 and 4 are side bending to the right and side bending to the left. The last basic movement of the spine is rotation. Take your left hand, palm up, toward your right thigh. Palm up just encourages some lift and width through your chest. Your right hand can be placed on the floor, kind of behind you. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, rotate toward your right. You're looking over your shoulder. The eyes tell the body where to go. So if you look toward the rotation, then the spine has the neuromuscular signal to go in that direction. Take another breath in, and a breath out, gently release. Take your right hand, palm up to the outside of your left thigh. A little lift through the chest as you rotate. Your left hand can be behind you. If you have a chair, you can even maybe hold on or gently press on the back of your chair. If you're on the floor, you can press down into earth, and that gives you a little lift through the spine. Looking over the left shoulder, take a breath in and a breath out. Gently unwind and return. Let's transition to standing, yogis. So however is easiest for you to stand up, you can set the props that you were using aside for a moment. We're going to use a fairly wide-legged stance for this next sequence. You can stand on your mat. That gives you some traction. If it's easier for you to face the camera, not on your mat, you can stand however you like. So feet are just a bit wider than your shoulders. Bend your knees and soften your hip joints. We're going to repeat those 6 directions of the spine standing. Starting with flexion and extension, place your hands on your knees. You might need to bend your knees a little more to get your hands down there. Inhale, extend your chest forward. Looking skyward, your tailbone also lifts slightly. Then exhale, reverse that, and you can press into your thighs to dome your spine. There's a little tuck to your tailbone here as well. Inhale, extend. Pulling the chest through your arms. Exhale, flex. Continue this, following your own breath. One more. Flexion of the spine and extension of the spine. I said those words backwards. And then stand back up. Your knees can stay slightly bent, or you can stretch them and then bend them again. But there is some softness to your knees. They aren't locked in place. We'll take that same side bend, first to the right, and you can bend that knee a little more as you bend the body to your right, and then to the left. Here you can go a little faster if you choose, or you can go slower. Rather soft in your knees and in your hips. You're focusing on the sensation of stretch through the side body and the mobility of your spine. One more time, to your right and to your left. And then we'll take rotation. For rotation, we'll either place hands on shoulders. If you've had carpal tunnel surgery, I've learned that this is difficult, so you can make earmuffs. If that doesn't work, you can rest your arms on the top of your head. Again, the knees are bent, and we'll take a little rotation to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, right, left, right, and left. You can accelerate going a little faster if that feels good. You can decelerate and go a little slower. You could stay in that stretch and feel that twist through the pelvis, through the spine, even up through the crown of your head. And you can then do another slow one. But your warm-up is for you. What feels good in your body, do that. One more time to the right, one more time to the left, and then resolve and release your arms. If your legs need a little break, you can toe heel your feet back together and just march out your feet, waking up the toes. Sometimes the toes get a little stagnant. We're going to do one more, and this one's opening up more the shoulders. So we've already done the 6 directions of the spine. Now we'll get our shoulders mobilized. You can stand with your feet together, or you can separate your feet, again, just a little wider than your hips with bent knees. Cross your arms in front and actively press your wrists together. So you could imagine you're holding a dollar bill between your wrists. Inhale, reach your arms above head. You're stretching your fingers. I'll lower down so you can see it. And then open your arms. Allow your shoulders and your chest to be wide. Then inhale, bring your arms back up, cross at the wrist, press your wrists together, and exhale, lower. Let's do that again. Inhale, reach the arms above head, pressing the wrists together. Exhale, open the arms just out to the side, feeling as wide as you can from right to left. Inhale, lift, press the wrists together, exhale, lower. One more time with just breath cues. Inhale up. Exhale, open. Inhale up. Press, exhale, close. Relax the arms for just a moment. We're going to repeat that. If you can, cross your wrists and notice which wrist naturally goes on top, and then change. Do the other one. We'll do 3 more with the other wrist on top, and if you can, try to keep the same wrist configuration. Pressing the wrists together. Inhale as you lift. Exhale, open. Inhale, arms above head. Exhale, lower. 2 more. Let the mind focus on the breath as you move. You may observe sensations in the body, and then you return your attention to the breath after a sensation has distracted you. 1 more. Inhale as you lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. And exhale, close. Toe heel your feet back together 1 more time. Do a little movement for your wrists. If you make tight fists and then circle your wrists, you might feel this a little more intensely through the forearms. Notice which way you're circling and reverse. And now we'll do 1 more standing wide-legged pose, our final one. Feet wide, and they can be your widest yet. Where you naturally landed, go just a hair wider than you want to go, only for this pose. Bend your knees, your hands can be on your hips. Breathe in. As you breathe out, hinge forward, and your hands can come to the floor whenever you want. You're upside down in the torso, and this can be a somewhat strange or even fearful sensation, so you can have your hands in front of you as much as you need to feel stable. The knees are bent, and you can drop your pelvis down also for stability. As you're ready or as you're able, press into your feet and start to lift your hips, which lengthens your spine. And as you're ready, if you choose, you can walk your hands toward your feet. Just as much as the body allows, keeping the knees slightly bent. There's energy in the legs. Take another breath in. Take a full breath out. Bring your hands to your thighs. Bend your knees more to drop the pelvis down, and inhale using strong glutes to come up. Toe heel your feet together. Wide-legged forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. We'll do that 1 more time, just to give you the opportunity to experience it again. If you choose, if you felt like you were very close to the floor, you can go a little narrower with your stance. If you felt like your forehead was a long way from the floor, you can go a bit wider. Start with a breath in. As you exhale, forward fold. Your hands can come to the floor whenever. When you're upside down, release the back of your head so your head is hanging heavy. There's a little trust involved that your legs are strong enough to support you. Breathe in and breathe out. One more inhale and exhale, focusing on the sensation. Bend your knees, drop your pelvis. Hands to come to the thighs to support the rise back to vertical. Inhale as you come up, and toe heel your feet back together. Good. Take a moment again, maybe hand on belly, and return to your belly breathing. We'll take a few breaths here. If you can, turn your attention inward and notice your heartbeat. Yogis, coming to the floor, we'll do some more seated work, opening up our hips. You're also welcome to return to a chair. So if you're on the floor, you can use a bolster, take a cross-legged position. You can also sit directly on the floor if that's comfortable. And I'll leave the chair here so I can demonstrate both variations. First, from a seated position, sitting up tall, a little work for our eyes. Trataka is a whole yoga practice focused on the muscles of your eyes. And we are a very mediated culture, and this year has exacerbated that. So our eyes need this work. Look directly up without moving your chin. Look directly down without moving your chin. You're looking into the wells of your eyelids. Once again, look up, as far up as you can without moving your chin, and look down. Look to your right as far as you can without moving your chin, and to the left. One more time to the right, and to the left. Blink your eyes quite a few times. You can let the eyes flutter. You maybe notice the muscles of the eyes activating after doing that. We're going to do one more variation, and you can choose to use your hands or not. I have my hands forward with thumbs up, and that just gives me a place to focus. The focus in yoga is called drishti, and our hands are called hastas, so this is hastagar drishti, looking at our thumbs. Inhale, right arm up. Follow with your eyes, exhale the arm down. Left arm down, follow with your eyes, left arm up. Right arm down, right arm up. Left arm up, left arm down. Notice if you gathered any tension in your neck. Let's try diagonals. Take your right thumb up to the diagonal and back down. Take your left thumb down to the lower diagonal. Follow with just your eyes and then back. Let's go right thumb down to the lower diagonal and back. Left thumb up to the upper diagonal and back. Relax your arms just for a moment. For our last trick, circles. Take your right thumb up and in a circle, following with your eyes, scanning the whole periphery of your field of vision, and then back. Take your left thumb up, scanning, following with your eyes, and back. And then reverse, right thumb down. Keep it in your eyesight. And left thumb down. This can also be done seated on a chair. And then release your arms, a little movement for your shoulders, a little look right and left. Maybe noticing if you accumulated a little tension in the back of your neck while doing that. And blink your eyes for sure, giving a little stretch for the muscles around your eyes. Pigeon variation. So pigeon I'm going to show first on the floor, and there's a couple of variations I'm going to recommend for you. Full pigeon, we're not even coming close to that right now, so I don't even need to show it. We're going to do one of three variations. You can lay all the way down, cross right ankle over left, and bring your left knee toward your chest. That's version one. You can do the same shape with your body on the floor against a wall. So you let the wall support your left foot. So those are the versions that I'll recommend on the floor. You can start making your way there. Otherwise, you can do this seated on a chair. You've been typing away. Dramatic news. They're storming the White House. No, I wish I was joking. Cross the right ankle over your left, and you get that same sensation of pigeon with that ankle cross sitting up tall. Then you can hinge forward. So here we are in your version of a pigeon, whatever that may be. If you're on the floor, both hips are connected to the floor. Your right knee is opening to the side as the left knee is coming toward your chest. So that might mean bringing the knee toward your chest if you're on your back. If you're seated, you can bring your chest toward your knee and achieve that same thing. Wherever you are, breathe. Notice where you observe intensity in the body, perhaps in the outer hip, perhaps your low back. Dull intensity is generally okay. We want to be mindful of sharp sensations. Notice your belly moving as you breathe for one more inhale. And as you exhale, we'll gently come out of this shape. Releasing your left foot to the floor. If it isn't already, then uncrossing the right leg. If you're on your back, take a moment with both feet on the floor, knees up toward the sky. If you're on a chair, you can do that same thing, feet on the floor, just observing the breath. And we'll set up the other side. Here we're crossing the left ankle over right knee. Then whatever it means to bring that knee closer to your chest. So you can hold on to the femur and draw the femur toward your belly. You can put your left or your right foot on a wall and use the wall to support the legs. If you're seated, you can let gravity do the work and just lean forward. Wherever you are, bring your focus, the energy of your mind, to the breath. As we familiarize ourselves with these poses, we think less about what's happening, and sometimes there's less physical sensation. And so the mind may wander. The breath is it's useful in so many ways, but one of the main ways, or one of the first ways it's useful, is helping to organize your mental energy and helping to focus the mind. So if you notice other thoughts and feelings taking over your headspace, redirect your attention toward your breath. Let's do one more inhale and exhale. After your exhale, gently release the right foot to the floor, then release left foot to the floor, and take a few breaths with feet on the floor. Your knees are bent, hips are resting on something. And notice if your hips are resting equally. One more variation. Or now, one more pose here. Roll to your right side. Gently press up to a seated position. And we'll take Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So on a floor, this is one I highly encourage some support for the pelvis. If you have a bolster, sit on a bolster. If you have a blanket, fold it a few times so you have about an inch, maybe 2 inches of hip support. So when you find your hip support, bring the soles of your feet together. The spine remains long this whole time. Breathe in and breathe out, full hinge forward. You're hinging from the hips, keeping your chest wide. The tendency is to flex right around the rib cage, letting your spine soften. We absolutely want to avoid that. That's a 21st century technological habit we want to undo, so we're keeping the chest lifted as we hinge forward. If you're taking this variation on a chair, you can take the edges of your feet, your pinky toe edges together. And this is especially beneficial if you're at a desk, but you can have your hands on your thighs and lean forward. Or you can slide your chair away from your desk and place your hands on a chair. And then you get the same sensation of hip opening and back opening in a seated position. On your next inhale, bring your torso back up and use your hands to bring your legs back together. Moving into Sphinx pose. Actually, let's do that one more time. Sorry, I keep skirting through things quickly. Second variation of this pose, change the distance between your pelvis and your feet. We tend to go very close, and if you did that, that's fine. Maybe you can make a little more space. Or vice versa. Maybe you started a little farther away, and you can go in just a centimeter more. The knees don't have to be forced down at all. They can just be in whatever natural external rotation works for you. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, hinge forward, just leaning forward from your hip joint, keeping the collarbones wide. Excellent. Notice your breath rhythm. Notice the thoughts if and when they come and go. On your next inhale, bring your torso back up. And now we'll move on to the next pose. Sphinx pose. Laying on your belly, before we begin, let's just take a moment to soften your body. Rest your hips on the floor, look to one side, rest your shoulders on the floor, and rest your head. Take a breath in, and a breath out.